And so we are wrapping up this edition of Public Affairs on Peach. And while we have focused on the future of the Hope Scholarship, there are other ways to pay for a college education. And for that, we turn now to accountant Andrew Polis of Polis Accounting and Consulting. Good morning and good day to you.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
You are very welcome. Good for being here. So, a firm believer that trying to get into college or university is like applying for a job. How can that individual set themselves apart from everyone else?
That's the big question, is how can you be unique when you're applying for any type of scholarship and you're literally 4 to 5 years out from the job market. Excuse me. So, you know, the path is that obviously having a good essay as part of your scholarship application.
Sure.
You have to convey where are you unique, what do you do beyond just the grades, what have you done in school, what have you done in the community. So when you are submitting something in writing and you're not seeing someone face to face and all they're seeing is paper.
Stop. Yeah, we are. Yeah, something's.
Mike.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You need to come up.
That's why I asked her if I needed to.
Oh, pull it up. Yeah, yeah. He asked her, and she. Okay, so
Yeah,
pull it all the way. Okay.
Pull it up more.
Pull it up. Yeah, but it's still. And so, what is it hitting?
Hold on. What do I got in here?
You think that's it? Because I'm
Is it
hearing
that?
scratchy. No.
Is it that or is my phone?
No, your phone's fine.
I have it off on airplane
No, your
mode.
phone's fine. Okay.
Is there anything?
Because was it just scraping? Oh, so it was, yep.
Is
That,
this
okay,
better?
that is much better.
Okay, yeah, they
Yep.
had it down here. That's why I
Yep,
asked him if I should.
that's exactly right. You were thinking ahead. That's absolutely right. Okay, cool. Let's do it again.
Okay.
Thank you. We are wrapping up this edition of Public Affairs on Peach, and while we have focused on the future of the Hope Scholarship, there are other ways to pay for a college education. And for that, we turn to accountant Andrew Polis of Polis Accounting and Consulting. And you are a firm believer, basically, in trying to go to college is like applying for a job. So how do you tell people to stand out from all the other applicants when it comes to applying for a scholarship?
Absolutely, Gloria. It's not much different than applying for a job. You basically have to figure out how you're going to be unique on paper, because when you submit that scholarship application, that's all the reviewer is seeing is what's on paper. Right. So you have to be unique. What have you done besides grades? Sure. Many students have good grades. What else have you done? Have you worked in a community, done community service? Have you been involved in your school? What do you offer essentially to society? That's the big question, and that's what's going to make you stand out and be unique.
So what is your advice to parents and students to actually learn what scholarships are out there? So many times we're bombarded with information. It's almost like information overload. What do you do?
We are in technology age. There's so much on the internet. There's websites like scholarships.com where you can go through and filter out and figure out what you qualify for. The last thing you want to do is just spend an enormous amount of your time applying for a bunch of scholarships that you don't meet the requirements for. So it basically boils down to doing your research early, maybe when you're a sophomore or junior early, so you can figure out which ones do I meet the requirements for and what do I need to do to be able to qualify and have an opportunity to get that scholarship. So it's doing research early, but again, we've got to remember that we don't want to just submit hundreds of applications out there that we don't meet the requirements for.
Exactly. And speaking of which, 529's college savings plans, what's your take on those?
Those are great. Obviously, they work well if you start early. If
That's
the
right.
parents start saving early, meaning when the kids are born very young. If you're going to wait till you're in 9th, 10th, 11th grade, you pretty much are not going to be able to invest enough so you can grow your money. But the one thing I do want to mention with 529, Governor Deal in May signed legislation that increases the state tax deduction for couples that are married filing joint coming up in 2017. So now it's going from $2,000 per beneficiary to $4,000. Now the other great thing with the 529 plan is for families that do have money and the opportunity to invest. When you open up the plan of the first year, you can do what we call front loading, meaning you can contribute up to $70,000, 5 years worth of contributions in the very first year. So, and that's per spouse, mother and father.
Wow.
If you do that, you can contribute up to $140,000 and let your money work for you.
Oh, wow. So those are the pros. Any cons?
Cons are obviously if your child doesn't go to college,
Yeah.
you may have an
Problem.
issue. But on that side, to that the issue of the cons, if your child doesn't go to college, what happens with the money? If you obviously pull it out and it's not used for tuition and school supplies and everything else that qualifies, then you could have tax implications. But the good thing with that is if you're going to do that, then you can move everything over to another beneficiary. So if your child A doesn't qualify, then you can move the beneficiary. Beneficiary could be a parent if they want to go to a accredited university.
Absolutely.
So you do have some flexibility.
Absolutely. What are some other do's and don'ts, some other things that people can do that, what if they can't do a 529 or they don't have that money or they don't have a tremendous amount, or what can they do if it's not this?
It's all about starting early. It's saving as much as you can, obviously, because as we all know, college education is getting very expensive, and it's only going to continue to get expensive. Looking for scholarships, there's other opportunities out there. There's grants that are available. Again, so it boils down to doing research. Saving money, if it's not the 529 plan, it could be investing your money in a savings bond. There's other opportunities. Bottom line is what I recommend for families and for parents is being politically and financially savvy with your money, meaning you want to make good investments and good judgments to save up for your college education. But for families, we also got to remember, we drive the lawmakers and what they pass. So as far as legislation is concerned, like the deduction that just went from $2,000 to $4,000, that's basically families saying, hey, this is what they're telling legislators in our state that we want. So we need to be able to have a voice, and the only way we're going to have a voice is by coming together and speaking and passing out legislation to our that we want to pass to our legislators.
Right, and sometimes I think that we really do not pay enough attention to that because it's so easy to kind of take your eyes off that ball when new laws are passed and things get through the legislature that can absolutely benefit us.
Absolutely.
So talk about that particular piece again, because that's a huge piece that the front loading and even the 2,000 going to 4,000, that is a great chunk of change that adds up over a short period of time.
Most definitely. And that's what I think sometimes as citizens, for all of us, we tend to forget. We are laid back, we sit back, we get involved in our daily lives, and we forget what our legislators are doing. Our legislators are there to serve us as a community.
That's right.
So if we do not speak out, if families don't say, hey, Governor, this is what we'd like to have, and put some pressure on them to pass and do things that are correct and influential, basically, that will benefit us, our families, our students, basically our education, we're not getting anywhere as a society.
That's absolutely right. And education, this pays. It absolutely pays. So you don't have to worry about when the child gets to be 18 and they're saying, now what? And you didn't save anything. It makes a huge difference.
It absolutely does.
Absolutely does. Andrew Polis, thank you so very much.
Thank you, Gloria.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. And appreciate you. So that is it for this week's edition of Public Affairs on Peach. Of course, we will see you back here next Saturday morning. Have a good one, everybody.